Good afternoon. Want to talk about something that's very emotive in the industry, something which everybody has an opinion on, and not many people are prepared to discuss the facts. I'd just like to say from the outset, I have no interest one way or the other in whether people are self-employed, renting a chair, employed. It makes no odds to me. My only interest is trying to get everyone operating legally. And that's what I have done and tried to do over the past 4 years. From the outset, I'll say, yes, I do sell chair rental agreements, chair and space rental agreements, and I do advise people on it. That's disclosure from the start. So in terms of chair renting, space renting, what I would say is that there's so many people out there, and the way I always portray it is they're attacking the player, not the dealer. At the moment, and it has been since time immemorial, renting chairs or space in a salon is legal. And it always has been legal, and I've always said it's legal, in spite of what people have said and the personal attacks that have came and whatever. It's legal, done properly. And that is what I've tried to educate people in and sort it out. So let's debunk some of the mistruths. So I see very frequently in Facebook groups and other people saying that you cannot charge a percentage as rental. It's absolute rubbish. First time I saw turnover rent, which is what paying a percentage is called. Generally, it's a base rent plus a turnover percentage. So if you take Greg's in Livingston Shopping Centre, for those of you in Scotland, certainly in central Scotland, you'll know what that is and where it is. Other people in other parts of the country, well, I'm sorry, I think I've been out of Scotland 3 times, so I don't really know loads of places, but you'll know what I'm saying. A shopping centre. So Greg's in the middle of the one in Livingston. They rent the it's not really a food court, it's like a central cafe in the middle of the mall. And that was the first time I saw it. I used just to have a salon in the centre. And one of the newsletters came round, and I can't remember what the base rent was, but the turnover rent was about 10% that they were taking. So that's legal. And it's well trumpeted, the HMRC CESS tool, which is Confirmation of Employment Status tool. You go to that and you put in that you're renting a chair in a salon, you're paying a percentage, then it'll tell you that's fine. You are self-employed. So that's a percentage out of the way. The next one, you can't use the salon booking system. Again, that is utter and complete rubbish. So think about it in its extreme. Most booking systems run on, certainly in terms of Fresha, Slick, I think of Vatu, they all run on Amazon web servers. So does that mean that the data which you have entered into your system, and let's not forget, sorry, I'm not going to get too technical in databases here, but basically it's called one-to-many. So it's one database. That's why there's all these big long numbers and letters at the end of things. It's the way it splits up the account. So I've just, and I'm not trying to sell you in here, but I've got a system on its way. And basically it ties the account to the user, which is a member of your staff, and further down. So that's how these systems work. So it would then saying that you must work for them because they've got your data, or Amazon have got your data. There is tribunal judgments. Something else, I should have said this at the outset. People that know me will know this. Sorry, that was a cat just going past the screen there. I get every tribunal judgment that comes out. So in over 400 tribunal judgments, there have only been, probably under a dozen, maybe 15, which have been to do with employment status. And that's it. It's not everyday stuff that some people try to portray it as. It's once in a blue moon. Everybody keeps going on about the Megan Gorman Terence Paul case, which, if you'd read it and you were the tribunal judge or one of the panel, there's generally in a tribunal, there's a judge and two panel members, you would have awarded Megan Gorman the case. In spite of all what a family we had and sad to leave within months, taking them to a tribunal, at the end of the day, if you had sat in that tribunal, you would have awarded her the case. So, in terms of storing the client details in the Salon computer, there is not a problem. I'm quite happy to share a case from a tribunal where it was no consideration that the Salon was the data controller. So that's that debunked. You've got to take your own money. Well, again, a load of rubbish. Many of the tribunal cases, nothing turns on the fact that the Salon takes the money. In fact, for convenience, it would make sense for the Salon to take money. Again, I can provide tribunal judgments which show that that's fine to do. And as I say, why wouldn't it be? And if you go to VAT, so I'm too new at this to work out how to put up links, but if you go to salonlogic.co.uk/IC notes, which is India Charlie notes, all one word, all the tax stuff's there, all the examples, all the modelling the HMRC have done, showing how the different scenarios of taking the money works. And below that, it's actually the manual that HMRC give their employees who inspect salons. So the best way of beating something like that is to actually have the knowledge that they've got. And it tells you there that the money taken centrally is not a problem. So there you go. What else have we got? Oh, yeah. You'll have heard much about the unfettered right of substitution. There is no unfettered right of substitution. The right can be fettered within reason. So all this talk you hear about, you can pop down the pub, pick anybody at random and get them to go up and run your space while you're on holiday is complete and utter bullshit. That you can insist that that person is at least as qualified as the person that you rented the space from. And again, when we rented the shop in the centre, we had to do a full personal history, qualifications, everything like that. Why wouldn't you insist on that? But, as I say, back to, if something's wrong, hassle the dealer, not the player. You 100% can insist that somebody is at least as qualified. But I'm just looking because I had some notes that other stuff that I've put out. The other one is, so if you look at, although the law's a bit different in Scotland, but if you look at the Landlord Tenant Act 1954, so generally there are two clauses for chair rent that you've got to opt out of. If you look at that, it'll talk about subletting. So if you look up the definition of subletting, it is to, and I'm just reading this, you've given somebody rights on the property, which is what a license to occupy precludes. You're not giving them any rights. There's a bit of debate going on, and they are issued as licenses in Scotland, but there's a bit of debate going on as to if a license is actually part of Scots law. But anyway, so people say, well, my lease says I can't do it. Well, you can, because, and again, at that time, it was Land Security's the biggest REIT landlord in the UK at that time. And I had the conversation with them, And what they said, again, was whilst your lease precludes subletting, renting a chair to someone, you're not giving them a right in land or property. So it has no effect on your lease because, as I say, you're not giving them that right. I'm trying to think of other questions. Just give me 2 seconds. So obviously, if you're renting, you've got your own insurance to have. Now, this is another classic one. Should I give them holidays? Should I not give them holidays? Because the law or the guidance states that they must be capable, actually to read it, it says, be capable of suffering losses, negative profit, as well as enjoying profits, positive profits. So, and I've advocated this very well as well, right? That you should be paying all the time, 52 weeks of the year. And yes, sorry, the cat's just went past again. As a tenant with a lease, you're contractually obligated to pay 52 weeks a year. But the idea, as I say, the law or the guidance says they must be capable of suffering losses and enjoying profits. Doesn't say they must make a loss, which obviously if they pay when they're not there is a loss. The government can't mandate you to make a loss. For 2 weeks of the year, you're going to make a loss when you're on holiday. Rubbish. Total rubbish. That's been put out there by people. I get off back on my soapbox here. It's hard to say without. If you're as keen on business as what I am, and you're looking at loads of different businesses and loads of different sectors, you see things that that happen and come out. So, as I say, the government can't say this is when you need to make a loss, this day, that day, whatever. It's the fact that you're capable of suffering a loss and enjoying a profit. So again, that's up to you if you want to charge somebody 52 weeks, if you want to make them pay 52 weeks over 48 weeks, whatever. You can't force them to make a loss. They only have to be the potentially make a loss, which if they're trading properly, they are. Again, much about the address for service documents, whereby people are saying, well, you've got to have this, and it can't be the Salon address, blah, blah, blah. Well, you're in a shop in a Salon centre, in a shopping centre. They don't tell you that you've got to have documents served to your home address. Your address is the part of the shop, or sorry, the shopping centre. So in a Salon, somebody sending you mail would be care of. If the salon owner, I always say salon occupier or operator, because they may not own the land, the property. And when it comes to legal, it's something that those are the small things that get people off with stuff. So I always, in our agreements, contracts, say occupier or operator, generally operator. So if the occupier is going to serve notice on you, so the agreement would either be that they can serve it by email or they would serve it in person. So they're not going to go to your house. They're just going to see you in the salon and hand you the document, and that's the end of it. So this idea about you've got to, have an address which is separate from the salon, rubbish, total rubbish. I've also seen that you have to work for umpteen different engagers. You can't work in the one place for, lengthy periods of time. Again, if you can prove in the contract that everything else is separate and running correctly, then there is no chance that HMRC or whoever are going to say that you're doing it wrong. There's nothing to stop you working in the same place all the time. This idea, obviously, you're free to buy products from wherever you want. Why would you? Because the salon already enjoys a bigger discount than you're going to get anywhere else. And let's not forget, you've went into this to make money. So why would you throw money away? And I don't know, just pluck figures out of the air. You can buy a tube of colour from the salon for, I don't know, let's say £8. Or you can go to a wholesaler and you can buy it for £11. So why would you even take the time? Your time that you're in the salon is about earning money. The quickest way you can earn money is by being behind the chair, doing what you do best. So why would you be running around buying colour? It makes no sense. Negotiate the deal with the salon and buy it there. This idea that the salon, and I've heard it as well, the salon's got to stock 3 different colour ranges to give you an offer, blah, blah, blah. Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Just think about common sense. As I say, the salon will get a bigger discount than you'll ever get anywhere. Buy your colour for the salon. And that's not because I've got a salon. I don't have a salon anymore. It just makes sense. You're out there to make money. So you don't have to work in umpteen places. You don't have to buy the colour. I mean, obviously, the colour's there on offer. You know how to do your own books. You know how to do your own insurance. I would always do a written risk assessment. People say, oh, you say that because you sell them. Listen, I don't care whether you buy them from me or not. Honestly, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. Don't give 2 hoots. Go and get them elsewhere if you want. Mine's are right and they're easy to get. But I always say write it down. And I didn't plan to straight into this today, but when we were an employer, we went through 3 employment tribunals. One was an employee who was pregnant, but she wasn't dismissed for anything to do with pregnancy. It was to do with not adhering to what her contract said. And ultimately, through an independent HR company, she was dismissed and the appeal was not upheld. Went to tribunal. I can't remember the word that was used, but basically the judgment was unfair and it went back to appeal. We won the appeal and it was remitted back to a fresh tribunal, and she pulled out at the last minute saying that she couldn't afford the potential award against her. That's a separate topic, and it's one that I speak passionately about. Another one was somebody that was caught stealing, and the other one, I can't even remember why she was dismissed, but she tried to take us to tribunal. We won the tribunal. In fact, we were praised for the record keeping, the propriety of what was kept and done. The tribunal judge complimented us on it all because it was far in excess of what he would have expected for a small company. We've always done stuff and done it right. And that's the way. Well, the best way to win at tribunal is never to get there. The second best way is to have everything documented and written down and proven. So, you having a conversation with somebody about, I don't know, leaving the top off the peroxide. And I know it's a small thing, but over time, these things build up. Let's not forget, when it comes to the end of the day, an employee will remember every small thing that was done or said. So you make sure you've got it written down. And that's why, as I say, I always say, have rental agreements, have risk assessments, make the self-employed in your salon do their own risk assessments. They should be doing it anyway if they care about their clients. Get them to do it. I think we've covered them all. Obviously, the HMRC guidance says that ideally there would be a separate entrance to the bit of the salon that they have, and there is a court case where it was the VAT was won, and I've explained this in this Salon Logic Facebook group over the last couple of days. There is a way of as a salon operator, sorry, you turning over £89,999 yourself, and then you could, done correctly, you could have £89,999 of rental income without being VAT registered for either parts if you did it correctly. Discipline, you can't discipline a self-employed person. Rubbish, you can, as long as it is comparable with how you would discipline an employed member of staff. You can ask them to wear a uniform, and that was proven in a court case in Glasgow where a renter burnt somebody or caused some kind of reaction, and the person, obviously one of my favourite business names, Digby Brown, stepped up to the plate and sued the independent contractor. They then decided that they would go back and sue the salon owner. So she got 2 bites at the cherry and she got 2 payouts. And it was quite interesting, the sheriff, the way that he characterised the self-employment. But one of the biggest things was the uniform. So whilst you can say to them, I want you to be dressed smart, I want you to be dressed all in black, as the overarching health and safety person for responsibility, I don't want you wearing open-toed sandals, obviously get hair in them and whatever. You can say all of that, and that doesn't prove that they are an employee. The problem with all of this is that HR companies, consultants have got so far into business that they're actually harming business now. And most of the stuff that comes out about hairdressing comes from a certain HR company owned by a guy that has a chain of betting shops, and they have their own insurance company which pays out if they get, like if I give you wrong advice and you claim my insurance, the insurance company pays out. The way they do it is they self-insure. So they will always, it's not about risk minimization, it's about risk obliteration. They just don't want any risk. So the advice they give is all based around that. And that's where so much of the wrong story has came out about jail renting. As I say about the risk assessments of the contracts, back to the contracts. So obviously the NHBF do a contract, we do a contract. There are a couple of other independents that do jail renting contracts that I've seen. There is one person who claims to be a specialist. Now I've seen the contract. It's a copied off the internet American contract. It's maybe 1-2 pages long. It is absolutely useless. Do not use it. Do not share it. And you'll see in the groups people saying, oh, I've got a renter, she's crap, can I get rid of her, blah, blah, blah. And that's because they're using a contract which doesn't allow for all of that, doesn't cover every eventuality. Use a proper contract. Like I say, contact me, get it for me. I don't care. Go elsewhere and get it. Just make sure that you're doing it legally and that it protects both parties. What else? As I say, I'm kind of reading through all of this. Again, you're putting down the what you're allowing them to have, what you're supplying. This idea about they can work any hours they want, rubbish. I've advocated this for many years. At the end of the day, you can have a shop in a parade in a street in England, and there'll be covenants on it that you can only open certain hours. You're no different in telling them. And why would you? This, they don't pay unless you're doing it the way I always advocate, a service charge, which makes it easy. The way I word their contracts is that there's a base rent and then there's a service charge. The service charge is calculated as a percentage of square feet. So then if your electricity doubles, there's no argument because the service charge is the percentage of the bills. That's the way I do it. Why would you let somebody work extra hours that doesn't pay electricity for those hours, that doesn't pay gas, that doesn't pay water? Again, the government can't force you to make a loss. So if your salon's open 9 to 5, then that's the hours that they can work. You can't make them be there from 9 to 5, but they certainly can't be there any longer than 9 to 5. Can the salon have a junior? Yes. At the end of the day, you can have 10 juniors. If in your contract you say that that junior is available, not exclusively, depending on who's using the junior, you may have to wait or whatever. Then that's fine. I would always have an external body coming in to train them, or them going to college, whatever. Either, it's a long time since I did my apprenticeship, but whether you can still go in blocks or whether it's day release, I would always have them doing that just to prove that they are being trained and they're not just there as skivvies. I think obviously we are struggling to recruit into the industry, and we're not selling it properly. We're not showing that where you can go, what you can do. Here's what you're going to make first year, second year, third year. There's none of that. We don't do it properly, and I think that so many of the organisations out there are selling what they want, not what is needed. And in fact, I spoke to somebody a few weeks ago, and it's a lady that I admire quite a bit, and she said to me, it's not about who's right, it's about what's right. And that's the problem with all of these organisations. They're looking at what they think, and their own businesses, and not the wider needs of the industry. I think I've said it all. If you've got any questions, feel free to get in touch. Join the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Salon Logic. Feel free to join there. If you've got any questions, message me. Otherwise, send an email to andrew@salonlogic.co.uk. Similarly, if you've got any other topics that you want discussed, to get the facts, just give me a shout and I will see what I can do for you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.